Good morning, everybody, on this sunny Friday morning. Thank you for taking the time to come to our Introduction to GovernorHub webinar, which I am for the next 30 minutes. I aim to take you through what GovernorHub is and who we are, and show you a little bit under the hood as well. I hope you've all enjoying sunshine today, as I am too, and I hope some of you managed to see the Northern Lights last night as well, which was very exciting. My name's Jane. I work for the support team at GovernorHub. I'm joined by Leonie, who is also part of the support team. David, who's head of support at GovernorHub, will be manning the chat. So if you've got any questions as we go along, please pop them in the chat, and David will be happy to answer those questions. And also Polly, who is our marketing manager at GovernorHub, who will also be on the chat too. And I think at the end, Polly will share a survey link with you, so you can let us know if you found it useful. So some of you, there's a whole range of people joining us this morning. I can see that we've got people who already have GovernorHub, and perhaps you've come along to find out a bit more about how it works and some ideas for how to use it better. Perhaps you don't have GovernorHub and you're just interested to see what GovernorHub can offer your governing board and how you can use it to support great governance. Perhaps you're part of a trust. If you're part of a trust, please do get in touch with us. Because with a trust, there's additional functionality within GovernorHub that I'm not going to cover today, but I can send you some materials about that if you're interested. Okay, so who are we? Well, with GovernorHub, you're in very good hands. We are a team of very experienced governors and educators. All of the team have a solid background in both governance and education. Myself, prior to doing this job, I was a teacher for over 20 years in a Senko. I was also a staff governor at the time, and currently I'm vice chair of governors at a middle school in Whitley Bay, which is where I live. We have other members of the team that are previously SLT, middle management in schools, and also governors of a whole range of settings, both trusts and maintained schools, rural schools, city schools, all through schools. We've got the whole range covered on our team. So we do use GovernorHub, and we're familiar with the challenges that governors have on a day-to-day basis. As well as providing this excellent tool that I'm about to show you, we also, in the background, campaign to raise the profile of governance. You may have seen some of our GovernorHub insights. A couple of years ago, we did a report into the role of the governance professionals. We also did a research project on diversity and looking at how we can use diversity to encourage governor recruitment. And more recently, over the summer, we published a report into the local tier of trust governance and how trusts can use that local tier for community engagement as well. And we also partner with other governance organisations. We have great relationships with Governors for Schools, who obviously are help with governor recruitment, and iGovs, who support boards throughout the country through mentoring and other projects. You may have also seen the Hoot. I want to mention the Hoot because that's our free access blog. Even if you don't have a GovernorHub subscription, you can access the Hoot at thehoot.news. I'll show you it when we go in how you can access it from GovernorHub as well, and not from within GovernorHub. It's a great resource. It was mentioned in the governance guides as a great resource for governors. It has a weekly news briefing to help you keep up to date with what's happening in the world of education, and more usefully, how that relates to governance. And it suggests resources that will help you with things that are current. It also we publish articles there about governance that help you get ready for your first board meeting for the year, that help you think about things like self-efficacy and how effective your board is. And it's just really great because it's actually free as well. You don't even have to pay anything for the Hoot. You don't have to even have a subscription. So I'll show you how to access that in a moment. Right, so I'm going to just give you the highlights now of GovernorHub. What are the sort of top things about it? So first of all, it's a secure place to store all of your governance work. Now, there are lots of ways you can store documents for governance, and lots of people have lots of different ways of doing that. However, the difference with GovernorHub is that it's designed for governance. So it's not just a document storage section. It has a number of features that make it useful, in particular, for governance. So it's secure in that you log in via an email address and a password, and you can also use multi-factor authentication to access it. Additionally, there's a number of extra features within the documents section, such as you can restrict folders to certain groups. So things like confidential minutes or text panels, you can restrict those folders to a certain group of people. You can also set review dates for documents. You can also mark things as signed remotely. You can sign documents within GovernorHub. And so it's a really sort of governance specific document section there. You can also share links from folders to tell other people that they're there. So you can, from the document section, notify people that you've uploaded things as well, which I think is incredibly useful. I've governed before on a board that just used Teams. And what I found really hard was sometimes things would be added later and I would miss them. Whereas here, because you can actually trigger a notification, that does make it easier to make sure that people don't miss things. Secondly, GovernorHub has a calendar. And what's useful about this calendar is, first of all, you can subscribe to it. So if you have a Google or an Outlook or an Apple calendar, you can actually merge the meetings from GovernorHub into that calendar so you don't miss anything. Other functions of the calendar that are great is it's color-coded according to committee. You can also take attendance within the calendar if you're a governance professional or a clerk. And also you can link folders to calendar events. And as I'll show you in a minute, that makes it really, really useful for people when they're quickly wanting to find the folders for a meeting, because you can just go straight from the calendar into the documents that you need. GovernorHub has a board membership area as well. So at a glance, you can see who's on your board. You can see what their terms of office are, what their roles are, what their appointment type is, and it's all at a glance. And the governance professional can manage that by keeping it up to date quite simply. And it's just great for knowing where you are with everything on your board. Who is the safeguarding link governor? Who is the careers governor? You can see it at a glance and easily reassign those roles as well. GovernorHub is also great for communication. So it has an interactive notice board where you can post messages to other governors, you can reply, you can react, you can link folders and resources via the notice board. And it's just really great for sort of keeping the interaction between governors. Also a great evidence base as well. If you're wanting to evidence that your governors are motivated and engaged and that they're asking questions, there's your evidence on the notice board. Very importantly, GovernorHub is a secure body of evidence for when you need it most. So obviously, because everything is in one place and you've got one login where everything is, you can easily pull off information, really useful information that you need. So you can pull off a compliance report to demonstrate that your board is compliant. You can pull off an attendance report to show that your board members are attending regularly. You can pull off a training record to show that your governors have done the relevant training that they need to do. You can pull off a committee list. You can pull off a membership list. And just by clicking a button, you can pull off these reports. No more making spreadsheets from scratch and all that. The system will do all that for you. And finally, I'm slightly biased here, obviously being on the support team. But one of the best things about GovernHub is the friendly experience support at your fingertips. So from within GovernHub, you can ask us a question if you're stuck about anything. There's a little blue chat button. You can hit that and you can ask us a question. Or you can email support@governorhub.com if you're not within GovernHub, and it goes to the same place. So one of the team will be able to help you. So there's myself, there's David, there's Jade, and there's Leonie manning those messages as well. Okay, so that's the highlights. Let's just go under the bonnet a bit. Right, so this is the sort of page where you sign into GovernHub. So you sign in with your email address and the password that you have set up for GovernHub, and it may be also that you want to use multi-factor authentication, and that's through a 6-digit code from an authenticator app. But however you sign in through one of those ways, and this is the landing page that you come to. So a few things to point out here. Firstly, we have the sidebar at the left-hand side. This is where you can access your board or boards. If you have GovernHub knowledge, you'd access that from here as well. And you can just click into any of these to access. So you could be on multiple boards, or you could just be on one board and have less options there, but you will click on the name of the academy to access the board. The news section, this just pulls from BBC News, Schools Week, gov.uk and the Hoot. Also, if you're part of a trust or if you're linked to a local authority, governor services, they may post news here too as well. At the right-hand side, we have upcoming events. Now, this is what I was talking about, or one of the things I was talking about when I mentioned the calendar, because any events that are in the calendar where documents have been linked, when you log on, you can see when your next meetings are. And if they've got this little folder icon here, you can actually click to go straight to the meeting folder for that meeting. So if you're really busy and you've got a meeting, you just think, I just need the papers for that meeting, you can just go straight from the landing page into the folders for the meeting, which is so great because no more searching through, to 2024 to 2025, autumn term, blah, blah, blah. You can just actually go straight to the folder that you need. If it's a virtual or a hybrid meeting, you can also go straight to the joining instructions as well if they've been attached to the calendar event. I did mention the Hoot earlier, so you can access that from here. You can also access it by just going to the hoot.news. So if you just put the hoot.news into your address bar, it takes you here. And this is what I was talking about this useful resource, because you've got your weekly news briefing, you've got top 10 top tips for your first board meeting of the year there. You've got how different generations thrive when they collaborate around the table. And then at the top, we've got topics here as well. You can search by topic and you can have a look at posts to do with safeguarding, posts for chairs, for clerks, governor stories. There's a whole host of really useful resources here. So I would say, whether you have GovernorHub or not, make sure you take a look at that because it is a really, really useful resource. And can be accessed from there as well. Right, so let's just start with when you first set up on GovernorHub. So at the top right here, there is your name. And this is where you access your profile. So the profile area is the bit of GovernorHub that is about you. And if you click on your name at the top and you go to profile, it takes you to the bit that's about you, where you can update your contact details, you can update your governor information, you can update your diversity data if you so wish. And the second tab is really important because this is where all your compliance jobs sit. I think this is a really great plus of GovernorHub because, as I say, I've governed on a board before that didn't have it, and we had a Microsoft form for declarations of interest sent to us. We had a Microsoft form for confirming we've read Keeping Children Safe. We had a Microsoft form for confirming we did safeguarding training, and it was all these forms. With GovernorHub, it's all just in one tab, so you can just log in and you can do all your compliance jobs in one place. So starting with declarations of interest, your register of interest, you can update this here and keep it up to date. If you're not sure what you should declare, there's a lovely handy little more information button there where you can have a look and see for maintained schools and for academies what sort of things you may need to declare. If you've got nothing to declare, so if you literally have no interests to declare, you can just click confirm and the system logs that you've confirmed on the 11th of October that you have no interests. However, if you do have something to declare, it's really simple. For each interest, you just click add interest. You select the type of interest that it is. So let's just say, for example, I'm a parent of a child at the school where I govern. So it's going to be a personal relationship. There's useful little information buttons here that you can hover over that tell you what sort of things you need to put in each field. What organisation does it relate to? I'm going to put in the name of the school. Any additional information? I am a parent. What was the start date? So when did this interest start? And you can put an end date in if you want, but if you leave it blank, it's just classed as an ongoing interest. So I'm going to leave that blank. And you click add. And because I've changed it, because I've made a change, the system prompts you to reconfirm. So you can reconfirm. And then what it does is it updates the date that you last checked them. And you know if that's green, that you are compliant. If it's yellow, that means it's been done, but it's out of date. You need to confirm them again because it's a new academic year. And if it's red, it means that you haven't confirmed them. So you can keep track of where you are with your declarations. Keeping children safe is next. That's another really important job that all governors must do to be compliant. So there's a link to the latest version. So you can click and you can read Keeping Children Safe in Education. And then you can confirm to tell your governance professional that you've done it, and it logs the date that you have done that. Again, because this is an annual thing, 31st of August, it goes out of date and you need to do it again on the 1st of September. Beneath that are any other confirmations that your administrators have set up for you. So you can have bespoke ones, like I agree to the code of conduct, or I agree to abide by the ICT policy, or whatever it is you need governors and trustees to confirm. You can set up your own ones and they will appear here. And it's all in the same list, that list of compliance jobs. So that's compliance. So the training record is also here. So you can see any upcoming training here that you've booked through GovernorHub, and any training that you do through us. So this would be if you have a GovernorHub Knowledge subscription, or if you're completing training through a Governor Services, this would automatically appear here. And the certificate is waiting for you there with the little cloud icon. However, if you complete training outside of GovernorHub, don't worry, you can still record it here. You can add a new training record. You can put in the name of the training course, and you can select the date that you have completed the training, and you can even upload your certificate. And that's really great because it means that your training record is completely up to date and you can keep everything in one place, even in external courses that you might have completed as well. Okay, so let's look at an actual board. So I mentioned the sidebar. If I go into my academy, the Nest Academy, I've selected it on the sidebar there, and it brings up the area for that board. So we've got a notice board, we've got a calendar, we've got a document section, we've got a board management area, and we've got an about tab there as well. So let's just start with the notice board. So as I mentioned earlier, this is where you would communicate with your board. Your governance professional can notify everybody when the papers have been uploaded, so they can say, right, full governing board papers are now here. And then what you can do is you can actually link that to the folder that it relates to. So you can go to the folder for that meeting. There it is. Select. And actually you can put a little hyperlink in there so people can just click from the notice board to the folder. You can select here who is notified. Now, anything that you post on the notice board is visible to the whole board. But what you can do is select who receives an email notification. So you can select a particular committee, or you can select individuals. But as this is a full governing board meeting, we're going to leave it set to all members of the board. When I click send, it posts it on the board and it sends an email alert to everybody that the papers are there so that they know to go into GovernorHub and look. Governors can react, so they can say, yeah, I've seen that, with whatever emoji that they want to do, or they can actually comment. So this is how you can have a conversation. So you might want to ask a question like, what time is the meeting starting? And then you can click send and somebody can reply, and you can have a little conversation chain here as well. You can use the little star to pin things to the top. So if there's something really important, like a governor conference that you want to stay at the top for a while, you can pin it there and then unpin it when you're finished with it. You can also filter posts as well. So you can search, because obviously the notice board can get quite long, and you can search by text, or you can search by category as well if you've added tags to posts. So it's quite a nice little well-organised notice board. Let's look at the calendar. So the calendar is next. So quite self-explanatory, but there are a number of things I want to point out. So it's colour-coded by committee, which I love because I love colour-coded stuff. You can subscribe to the calendar using this button here if you want it to be merged into your Outlook or your Google or your Apple calendar. Your governance professionals can set up the meetings so that when you click into them, you can actually access the folder there. Let me just set up a meeting now so you can see. So to set up a meeting, you click add a new event. You put in the title of the event. You say where it's located. You say the date that it is on and the time. And then you can add the Teams link or the Google Meet link if it's a hybrid meeting. You can select if it's for the whole board or for a particular committee, and the clerk for the event. This is the important bit I was saying about making the folder easily accessible. You can actually then link the folder to the calendar event for the meeting like that. And you can, if it's a full board meeting, you can either add people individually or you can just click add all members and it'll add all members of the board. And you do have some sort of editing within that, in that you can remove people and add people. But essentially what you can then do is when the meeting happens, you can take the attendance by clicking who was there, who wasn't there, who sent their apologies. And then that information is stored. And so you can generate an attendance report for the board as well. So it's got some really useful functions within it there as well. You can also see it by list. So you can have a list of your upcoming meetings. You can see it by month, by week, or by day. So it has those options there. Right, we're now going to look at documents. I'm going to hand over to my wonderful colleague Leonie, who's going to take you through the documents, the board management, and the download section as well. So I will just unshare so that Leonie can share. There we go. Is that all right, Leonie? Looks great.
Okay, there we go. I believe that is sharing, but Jane, if you could let me know if that is
It
not.
looks great. You're fine. Absolutely fine.
Awesome. So we're going to have a look at the documents area. So it's just along this tab here. And as you can see, we've got some documents uploaded already. So if you need to add a document or a folder, it's just this add button up here. We've got the options to create a new folder, upload a file, upload a folder, or to add a web link as well. So this is really useful for adding links to things like school websites or anything that currently sits outside of GovernorHub. And to do that, you just click this, you add in the name and put the link in here as well. And you can also pin them to the top. So you can pin any links or anything in the document folder. You just go to this three-dot menu on the side and select pin or unpin in this case. So if I wanted to pin this one, just be down here and I can pin it to the top of the folder. So it makes those important things more easy to find. You can also see that this one here has got a lock symbol on it. This doesn't mean that people have restricted access. It means that it's locked for changes. So only admins can make any changes to this folder for things like renaming or moving or deleting any of the documents in there. So we've got our documents here, we've got folders. Some of these say restricted visibility. So that means that these are only visible to certain committees. And you can always tell that because they'll have this red restricted visibility under the folder. But also if you look in this visible to column, it will show you who can see the folder. So by default, any folders are visible to everyone, so shown by the governing board. But this one is restricted. It's restricted to the finance committee. And if you're a member of the committee, you can always change this. You can change the visibility here. So only if you're in the finance committee will you even see this folder. We can also mark documents as signed, like Jane was talking about earlier. So if we go to that three-dot menu again, got lots of options here. So we can mark it as signed. Okay, and I can see that I signed it here. And if you hover over it, it will show you the date as well. And if multiple people sign it, it will show when they all signed it as well. You can also set a review date. So if you've got policies that need to be reviewed annually, you can click on this date and select when it needs to be reviewed by. And this will also do a red, amber, green rating depending on the date as well. If you need to move any folders, we've got a move to option, and you can also click to share them on the notice board. So if you've uploaded any documents or agendas that need to be looked at, there we go, we can just link them easily to the notice board and click send, and then they'll get an email notification about that as well. Moving on to our governing board section, this is where admins can add other users onto the account. It's this add member button here. Enter the email address and they'll be sent a registration email, which they need to click through just to finish setting up their account. If you need to make someone an admin on the account, just click this arrow next to their name. And there's a make an admin button as well. So you just click that and then they'll be able to have admin rights so they can add other members and do other admin functionality on the board, like adding appointments. With adding appointments, it's really easy. So you just click the arrow next to the name. Okay, you can add an appointment. Got a whole drop-down menu of appointment types in here. So I'm going to say this person is a community governor. And as well, you can add when they were first appointed, the term of office. And we've recently added this appointed by section as well. So you can add who they were appointed by and any additional information. Okay. We've also got a historical members tab. So for anyone whose appointments have finished or come to an end, they will be transferred when they're removed from the board to our historical members. So you get a better overview of maybe the reason for removal, any committees they were a part on, or any appointments that they had. So all of your information is kept there. We've got roles. So for custom roles or appointments, we can add those in here. You can always add a new role. So just add that in there. Okay. So we've created the role, and then you can add someone here, okay, by clicking from the drop-down menu and assigning it there. We've also got the committees section. So admins can add new committees, and like I mentioned before, you can restrict documents to those committees as well. We've also got the constitution under this tab, so you can see at a glance what makes up your constitution. You've got options to edit it, and you can see at a glance down here, and our compliance section. So this brings in all the information that Jane was showing earlier under your profile and all your declarations and confirmations, but this is all in one place for your board. So we've got a download, so you can download a report of all the compliance on your board. And also if you click here, declarations of interest, it will show you a breakdown by person. So I can see that Jane has declared her declarations of interest. She's also showing as green, which means that she's all compliant and has confirmed them since September. I can see that David and Hannah have confirmed their declarations, but they haven't redone it since September, so they're showing in orange. And I can also send a reminder to anyone who isn't in green that they need to do this. We click this send reminder button, and then it will send a message onto the notice board, and they will get an email notification reminding them as well. Okay, I'm just going to close this. You can also add custom confirmations. We do that. Admins will need to do this, but we get this by going to our edit confirmations button, add a confirmation here, got the statement. We can add any links to any documents that need to be read. And we've also got our new annual expiry button as well. So just like with keeping children safe in education, if we turn this on, they will need to be renewed every year. Okay. And finally, I'm just going to show you our About tab. So this is where the logo lives, but also is where our Downloads tab lives. So like Jane was saying about the reports, if you go to the Downloads tab, it will show you all the reports that are available. So we've got our board diversity data, which is one of our latest reports, but we've also got things like membership lists and training records as well. So you can download these and get all of that information at a glance. So I will pass back to Jane for the final part.
Thank you very much, Leonie, for explaining that so well. That was really good. Right, so one last thing to show you before we end is if you need any help from any of us. I mentioned this at the start. There is a little blue bubble here at the bottom, and you can click that to send us a message, or you can send us a message at support@governorhub.com as well. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. We're so grateful that you've taken time out to learn out more about GovernorHub. Polly is putting a link to a survey in the chat. Please do complete that, because we always want to know if these sessions are useful and how we can make them better. If you're interested in knowing more about GovernorHub, if you don't currently have a subscription, please do contact us at support@governorhub.com, and we can talk you through how you can set up a trial or how you can set up a subscription as well. Thank you so much for joining us, and I hope you all have a wonderful weekend. Thank you.